Got a question for you today. Do you fly much? And if you do, have you noticed people acting a little different on airplanes? I'm a licensed pilot, and I have been since my teens. And actually, I was never on an airliner until I think I was 20, because we flew small private planes a lot in my family, just little prop jobs. And as I say, I've been a pilot for a long time, so I have several thousand hours of pilot in command time under my belt. And from the very beginning, I learned to deal with the unexpected. I learned to deal with turbulence when you're flying. But for pilots that are flying passenger jets, lately, some of the worst turbulence is not outside the airplane. It's coming from behind them inside the cabin, where people are screaming, kicking, biting, scratching, spitting, and in some cases winding up tied down or duct taped to their seats.
Man, that's crazy, I swear.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about a minute from landing.
Oh my God.
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell's going on? Back when I used to fly on airlines, you would get dressed up in your Sunday best. You would go down there. It was kind of a big deal, you were flying somewhere. Today, the real story about what's turning ordinary flights into craziness. I mean, people acting really strange. Before I jump into the headlines, I want to know the worst behavior you've seen on an airplane. Leave comments, because I want to talk about this, because let me tell you something. This is getting worse, not better. There was a real spike that occurred during and around COVID. In 2021, there was a spike of 492% of reportable incidences. People were saying, well, why is that? Well, there were mask mandates. Security at airports was getting really bad, so people were getting frustrated, so they were really on edge before they ever got on the airplane. I'm going to talk about some other reasons in a minute, but here are some headlines just from the past month, because this didn't end after COVID. Air rage woman is overpowered by male passengers and tied up in midair after demanding business class upgrade while grabbing her breast, yelling, "I'm in pain in my butt and my pits." Really? No, you are a pain in the butt. You don't just have one in your butt, you are a pain in the butt. Here's another one. Passenger dragged off plane after demanding aisle seat for a bigger frame. Now, this topic isn't new. Gary, can you sit in this seat because it has the extender on it? Now, do you have to put this up when you sit there?
No.
So you can fit in? Yes. And Philip, if you would sit in here, get in there. Okay. Okay. Now you're talking about not just here, but also
half of that's mine.
Up here. Yeah, half of that's yours, and it's not comfortable for you either.
That's why I always ask for an aisle seat.
Yeah, so you can get into
That way I can lean over. I mean, you have to be courteous.
Yeah.
You do. I mean, size is size.
Okay.
You're big.
And how do you feel about the plight that Philip's in right now?
I feel he has a point. They make airline seats too small. A lot of people are fat. It's like people of girth can't leave the earth.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah.
I made that up.
He's been working on that. Okay. Back to present day headlines. Plane passengers drunk meltdown over being forced to sit next to woman she deemed too fat. That last headline resulted after a drunk New York artist went ballistic over her seatmate on a Southwest flight from LaGuardia to Kansas City. She pulled a woman's hair, spit in her face, kicked her, screamed, "Shut the up, don't touch me," and quote, "Look at this fat lady. Look at this fat ass. You can't even see her stomach." This was on a 3-hour flight. God, can you imagine if she was over the Pacific or the Atlantic? And also last month, on a separate flight from the UK, a tourist refused to sit in his assigned window seat and demanded an aisle seat to accommodate his larger frame. When the airline couldn't move him, witnesses said he blocked the aisle, argued with the crew, delayed takeoff for over an hour. And he reportedly told staff, quote, "I need an aisle seat. I can't sit in that space. It's not humane." Well, you're the one acting like an animal. The standoff escalated and airport police were called in, and they were forced to literally drag him on his back down the aisle in front of all the other passengers. Now, this sounds like a comedy skit, but it isn't a joke. This isn't clickbait. This is a serious federal issue. The FAA can fine unruly passengers up to $37,000 per violation. And there can be multiple violations on a given flight. They got to get you out of the bathroom because you won't come out. That's a violation. You won't comply with instructions. That's a violation. If you touch another passenger, that's a violation. You can wind up with $100,000 worth of fines. And when you do this, you can also go to prison. Depending on what happens, you can spend 20 years. You can spend up to life, depending on what happens. In 2021, there were over $5 million in fines issued. $5 million for acting like an idiot on an airplane. And the FAA referred 37 passengers to the Justice Department, most egregious cases to the FBI for federal criminal prosecution consideration. Now, there's actually a push for a no-fly list. You get stupid enough, they'll put you on a list. You're going to spend the rest of your life on the dog. They're going to put you on the Greyhound. And you get stupid there, they're going to put you in a car. And that's not all. 2021, 1 in 5 flight attendants report being physically assaulted on the job. One Delta flight attendant was punched in the face for refusing another drink. Obviously, good judgment. You're punching somebody in the face because they won't liquor you up further. You've had enough. Another on a Chicago-bound flight was rescued by passengers when a man tried to drag her down the aisle.
Prosecutors say Julius Priester stood up mid-flight on Tuesday, took off his shirt, and ran down the aisle yelling for help. He allegedly grabbed a flight attendant and shouted, "You're coming with me."
One crew member was actually bitten while trying to break up a fight about body odor between 2 passengers. Now, don't you know that was her red letter day? She's trying to break up a fight between some people that stink already. Whoopee. Things are so bad now that some crews are getting self-defense training. One flight attendant revealed, and I quote, "We've had to duct tape people to seats, and that is not what we're trained for. That is not what we're paid for." By the way, flight attendants are not waiters. They're not waitresses. They're there for safety purposes. They're there so if something goes wrong, they can get you off the airplane with the best chance of being alive. And most people, when they buy a ticket on an airplane, they have an expectation if they get on alive, they don't get off dead. So their primary job is safety, not to bring you peanuts and a Coke.
Peanut?
Yes, I have one right here. It's bulky, but I consider it carry-on.
They're there for your safety. A lot of airlines are making the seats narrower. They're trying to get another aisle in there. And there's something in comparative psychology we call reflexive biting. You can get real docile mice and put 5 or 6 of them in a small cage, and they get along fine. You know, they walk past each other. They might even curl up together. You double the number in there where it's overcrowded. They get stressed, and docile mice start biting each other. Well, comparative psychology generalizes to people. You put too many people in a small space after you've already pissed them off by having them stand in line forever with delayed flights. Then you put them on the airplane, have them sit on a tarmac for 3 hours, hot, no air conditioning. People get stressed. They get anxious. There's claustrophobia. There's all kinds of problems. People are going to react. And airlines don't know how to fix it. And once you get on, you can't get off. So that's why this has started happening so much. Experts say it's a perfect storm of these triggers. These seat sizes going down, long delays, they're setting themselves up for this. Some think even walking through first class to get to their seats makes them mad because they're thinking, oh, this is a microcosm of life. I'm going back here in the cheap seats. These guys are up here with their feet up, lots of room. And so they get upset about that. Even first class passengers start feeling guilty. So you got stress, anxiety, claustrophobia, What could possibly go wrong here? Let's put too many people in too small a space and have them sit out there for 3 or 4 hours. Don't tell them anything, so you create anxiety. Come on. We got to start having some sense about this. We got to have passenger rights that people can enforce. They want to get off the plane, get off. They say, well, we can't do that. We've checked their bags. It could have a bomb in it. Then get the damn bag off. I mean, come on. What happened to common sense? You can't assign this to just post-COVID rage that people forgot how to behave in public. Come on. That doesn't wash. 10 years ago, this behavior would have been shocking. And now it's kind of normalized because of social media. And you got a lot of people with main character syndrome because we have an entitled generation where people think, hey, I got to be the star of everything. They feel like they have to post it if they're brushing their teeth. They think, hey, the whole world revolves around me. No, it doesn't. You paid for a seat. That's all you get. And you get the seat you paid for. If you wanted a different seat, you should have booked sooner. And some people are trying to get on social media by melting down. Well, yeah, you can. They can also get you on there when you do your perp walk, when you go to jail. That's not what you want to do. Stop and think. Airlines have a zero tolerance policy, and they should. You put your hands on a flight attendant, you're going to jail. That's the way it should be. They're not your servants. They're there for safety, like I said. So think about it. You hold up 250 people because you want to act like an ass, you need to go to jail. And if you don't have the seat you want, book another flight. And don't think you're going to get on there and the entire flight's going to revolve around you. It's not. They have zero tolerance. They should have zero tolerance. And you should expect to enjoy a peaceful flight. People need to behave. And if they can't, stay home. And that's the real story. Click below to catch all the ones that I do. I promise I'll be here tomorrow. I hope you do too. Click subscribe and follow. You won't miss a thing. See you next time. I used to sleep terribly, but thankfully I found Beam's Dream Powder, a science-backed, healthy nighttime blend that's packed with ingredients shown to improve sleep. Plus, Beam is founded in America and run by people who share our values like hard work and integrity. Their Dream Powder is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. Beam's already improved over 17.5 million nights of sleep, helping people wake up and feel their best. Here's the deal. Beam's giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off so you can try their best-selling Dream Powder. Visit shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil at checkout for up to 40% off. That's shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil. Code Dr. Phil for up to 40% off. Support an American company. Invest in yourself and get your best sleep tonight.